welcome back to the Always Reading Book Club. It is your girl Kiki Reader, and we're in the last book of the Please series. If you haven't already listened to the other books in this series, I'm going to have all of those links down below in the description section. Once you're finished there, come on over and join us as we jump into the last book in the series, which is called Forever Please. So Forever Please starts out about 2 months later. They still haven't told too many people about the baby. She wants to wait until she gets to at least like 3 months so that the likelihood of a miscarriage decreases at that point, according to all of her research. She has been working still these 2 full jobs between Hunter and Bruce. And basically, Hunter needs her to choose, and he reminds her, that we did agree to decrease our workload once we started our family. And she was like, yeah, but you've been working crazy hours too, and you said both of us would cut back. And he was like, I just have to finalize some things with the new company that we acquired. And she's like, all right. So she goes to his office after he calls her in there, and she thinks he's going to give her like a good office shag, right? But because it really has been happening in the office since they found out the news. So like when they're home, they get it on, but he's like super gentle with her now, and she like misses the hard poundings. So she initiates this time she wraps her arms around his neck, and she tells him, she misses their office romps. And so he starts fingering her, and then she sucks him, and then he actually does fuck her hard on the desk. So the first thing he says is that he meant to be more gentler, and she's happy because, she got the hard pounding that she wanted. So she's like, no, this was fine. This was great, actually. So the next day is the launch of the app, and she's like really nervous about it, and knows that she's gonna have to decide between these 2 jobs because it's getting to be a lot. You got to think 2 demanding bosses, that's a lot. And she's pregnant, so she doesn't need like the added stress. So she's got to figure something out. The problem is she really doesn't want to choose Hunter, because the truth is she loves the work that she does with Bruce, which to me means you should not choose to continue to work with Hunter. You're doing things below what you went to school for. You have something that's exciting to you that you enjoy. That should be something you do. It's not that and I understand she doesn't want to depend on Hunter, but it's like you're not destitute. The guy's not going to leave you destitute. Like you're in a relationship with him, like you're having a kid now, So if you're able to follow your passion, you should, try it out. I don't think it should be that hard of a fucking choice to me, but for her it is. She hates to leave her Hunter. So it's the day of the launch, and Olivia, she's been refreshing her phone like constantly, trying to see the amount of downloads that the game has gotten. So she goes to work, and after probably not checking for like maybe just a little while, she refreshes it again, and now they're at number 135, which is apparently really good for like the first day. So while she was sharing the news with Hunter, she starts feeling like really bad cramps. And so she like bends over and Hunter jumps up and he carries her to the car. Bert drives him to the hospital. Hunter calls like the best OBGYN in the city, and they're going to, she has to meet them at the hospital. Once they arrive, Olivia goes to the restroom just kind of see if she's bleeding, and she is spotting. So they do an examination. She's okay, but it was brought on by stress and not taking enough rest. So now Hunter gives her like that look of, I told you so. And he also went to do an ultrasound just to like make sure everything was okay with the baby. So they go in, they do the ultrasound, they hear the heartbeat, and it was a super cute moment. He still has that issue, like when they ask like, are you the father? Like he won't just say he's the father, because he's still like paralyzed from what happened to him when he was like 17 years old. So she kind of takes over, and she's like, yes, he's the father. So Bert takes Olivia home first. They start kissing, and then she gives him like a blowjob, so she can't do anything else right now. She knows that she has to make a decision sooner than later now, because now it's affecting the actual health of the baby. She wakes up the next day and reads the reviews, and there was only one bad one, with just 1 star. The rest were like 4 and 5 stars, so it's getting really good reviews. So she also sees that they also made $2,000 so far. So she calls Bruce. She's super excited. He was as well, and they have now climbed to number 5 on the Apple game charts. So they only released it on Apple. So they're doing really, really well. So they haven't even released it to these other platforms. So this is like super good. So Bruce tells her, we're ahead of schedule. And he's like, did you receive the emails I sent you? Because he's like already on to like, what we need to fix, what we need to do. He's already on to it. And so she blurts out and she tells him, that yesterday she had a health scare. And she tells him about being pregnant. And so he basically was like, you need to talk with Hunter about trying to maybe restructure your workload. He was like, but also, he does want her to come and work full time with him. And she just needs to do it, That just seems like the logical choice to me. I know it's a huge leap of faith, but I mean, you going to that interview was a leap of faith. So it's like, and look how that turned out. So, hey. So she goes to work, and Brenda has figured out that she's pregnant because, Brenda's not an idiot. She pays attention, So she sees how she looks, the fatigue and the different things, how she looks. So she knows like, yeah, this chick's pregnant. And she sees the difference in Hunter and that it's like, yeah, she's pregnant. So cat's out of the bag with one person at least. She also gets an invitation from Hunter's mother, and attached to it is a note that says, she sent the invitation for both of them, but she hasn't heard back. So apparently he did this same type of thing with Blair, and that's what Brenda was kind of telling her about. And if that does kind of set off some alarm bells for her, because she's like, oh my god, is he trying to hide me? Like, oh, she spirals. It happens. And I can kind of see why her mind would kind of go that way, because she had a really great interaction with the mom when she met her at the gathering that the mother had, I guess a couple of months ago. So I don't know, I could kind of understand her kind of being like, ugh, what's really going on? So he, of course, that's effed up if he's treating me the same way, and I got his whole kid, this is crazy. So she goes into his office and she talks to him about the game and how good it's doing, and he, of course, already knows because he keeps tabs on stuff. So she then tells him about the invitation, and automatically his whole demeanor like hardens, and she realizes why he's done that. He doesn't want to tell his mother about the baby and then it isn't his again. So again, this, he still has a lot of baggage from being embarrassed that first time around. So she understands it, but it still stings, She then tells him that she messaged the doctor last night, and they can't have sex. And he was like, give it a little more time, because yesterday really freaked him out. And he was like, we can go to like third base and that's it. So then she starts crying because, she's full of hormones. And so then she starts having thoughts about whether he will even be able to get over his past in order for them to have her forever, aka get married. So the next day at work, she checks her game and it has hit number 1. She tells Brenda, and she doesn't really have the reaction that Olivia wanted. Hunter comes out and she tells him, and he tells her, congratulations. She calls Bruce to tell him they're number 1. He's super excited, but he's like, now the real work begins. And so he's already sent her some more list of things to do. And she also has a long list of things from Hunter to do as well. And he can see the panic on her face, Hunter. And so he grabs the phone and he talks to Bruce, and basically he's like, yeah, I understand, we'll figure it all out. So then he calls her into his office, and she's pissed because he took over. But it's like, you were spiraling. The previous day, you like cramped over this man's desk in pain. Like, what do you think he's going to do when he sees you sitting there spiraling? That's just stress. And he knows this is going to stress you out. So his job is to try and alleviate that from you. So that's what he did, you know? So, I mean, then if he didn't do it, she would have been upset and like, he didn't even care. You know what I mean? So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. He tells her, you know, I told you I will protect you and this baby from everything. And he's like, you know, the time has come. You got to make a decision. And so she's worried that if she quits, he won't see her as much. And like the spell that she has on him is going to kind of wear off. Because that's what she feels like it is. Because she doesn't. Everyone else thinks she's beautiful, but she doesn't. So she feels like she's plain Jane. Right? So to her, it's like, I must have some type of spell on him. And if I'm not around him, then it's going to wear off. And then he's going to throw me away. See what insecurities can really fuck you up. It really can. Because oh my gosh. And so he was like, all I need is you. You know, I love having you near me. You know, it only gives that gives her like a little relief to hear him say that. But her mind is still wondering why, you know, are they even going to go towards marriage? You know what I mean? She's still kind of pondering on that thing. So he, you know, he also told her, you know, if you don't choose, I could just fire you. And she looks at him like, you know, you wouldn't. But at this point, something's got to happen. So listen, if he has to do that to push you, and that's kind of letting you know that he wants you to go and pursue a dream you have. You know what I'm saying? Like, how dense can you get? But anyway, I digress. So she's gonna go ahead and go home for the day, and she gets a call from Kimberly to meet up with the gang. So she agrees, but then she kind of panics because she hasn't told Kimberly, right? No one knows. Brenda knows, figured it out, but no one else knows. And Bert knows because of what happened the previous day, but outside of that, no one else knows. So she's panicking a little bit. So they get there, and so guess who's there? Our good old boy Jonathan is there with a new girl named Tara. So they all, like, the friends are there, so they all tell her, like Rick and I forget the other person's name. They all tell her, you know, how, you know, excited they are about, you know, and proud of her for the game and how well it's doing. And so Olivia had made the comment when she had been asked if she worked for Hunter Carlisle, and she had said for now. And because I think the Terror girl had asked her, like, you know, so you're working for Hunter? And she said, you know, for now. So then the Terror girl was like, you know, what do you mean? And she explained how she had to kind of make a choice. And Jonathan was like, well, that's a no-brainer. You keep working for Hunter. He's a business genius, and the connections and knowledge he can give you isn't worth leaving. So Kimberly ordered them some beers, even after Olivia said she wanted a Sprite. So then Olivia goes to the restroom after she notices the Terror girl kind of keeps looking at her stomach. So as Tara's doing this, she goes to the restroom, but her mind's spiraling, right? So Olivia's thought process is, oh my gosh, everyone's going to think that I'm pregnant, that it's, I trapped him and that's the only reason why he wants me. Like, she just spiraled, you know, all because this woman was looking like, like, are you pregnant? Like, how did you get him? Because again, you got to remember, this is someone that all these different women have not been able to get this man's attention. And so automatically someone's going to look and say, okay, so what did you do? What did you do? You know? So she spirals a little bit in the bathroom. I was like, poor thing. The curse of overthinking, let me tell you. So she comes out of the restroom. Jonathan's there, and he's all like, you know, I miss our friendship. And, you know, I have some great ideas for Hunter. You know, do you think